Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered what it would take for one person, born with nothing, to challenge the most powerful empire the world had ever seen? Today, we're diving into the incredible true story of a man who did just that. His name was Spartacus, and his legend has echoed through history for over 1,000 years. So, who was Spartacus before he became a symbol of rebellion? We don't have a ton of details about his early life, but most historians believe he was a Thracian, possibly even a soldier who either deserted or was captured by the Roman army. Imagine this: one day you're a free man, maybe a warrior, and the next, you're sold into slavery. That was the brutal reality for countless people under Roman rule. Spartacus's journey took him to a gladiator school in Capua, run by a man named Batiatus. This wasn't a training camp for athletes. It was a prison where men were forced to fight to the death for the entertainment of the Roman public. The conditions were horrific, and the chances of survival were slim. But within these brutal walls, a spark of defiance was ignited. Spartacus, along with about 70 other gladiators, decided they would rather die fighting for their freedom than for a cheering crowd. In 73 BC, they made their move. Armed with kitchen knives and whatever they could grab, they fought their way out of the school. It was a desperate, almost suicidal plan, but it worked. Once free, they raided a wagon full of gladiatorial weapons and armor, and suddenly, the small band of escapees became a genuine fighting force. They set up camp on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius, the very same volcano that would later bury Pompeii. News of their escape spread like wildfire. Slaves from all over the countryside, hearing of this incredible act of defiance, flocked to join them. What started with 70 gladiators quickly swelled into an army of thousands of men, women, and children, all desperate for freedom. They were a diverse group: Gauls, Germans, Thracians, all united by a common desire to break their chains. Rome, at first, didn't take them seriously. They sent a small force under the commander Claudius Glaber to crush the rebellion. Glaber's plan was simple: trap the rebels on Vesuvius and starve them out. But Spartacus was a brilliant tactician. He had his men rappel down the cliffs using vines, circle around the Roman camp, and launch a surprise attack from behind. The Romans were completely routed. This stunning victory announced to the world that this was no mere slave revolt. It was a full-blown war. Over the next 2 years, Spartacus's army marched up and down the Italian peninsula, defeating one Roman army after another. His forces grew to an estimated 70,000 people. It was an unprecedented crisis for Rome. The Senate, now in a full-blown panic, finally turned to one of their wealthiest and most ruthless citizens, Marcus Licinius Crassus. Crassus was given command of 8 legions, a massive force of over 40,000 professional soldiers. Unlike the previous commanders, Crassus understood the threat Spartacus posed. The final confrontation was brutal and bloody. Despite their incredible courage and Spartacus's brilliant leadership, the slave army was ultimately cornered and overwhelmed by the sheer size and discipline of the Roman legions. Spartacus is said to have died in the heart of the battle, fighting to the very end. The aftermath was grim. Crassus, wanting to make an example of the rebels, crucified 6,000 captured slaves along the Appian Way, the main road leading to Rome. It was a horrifying display of Roman power and a warning to anyone who dared to defy them. So why do we still talk about Spartacus today? Because his story is more than just a failed rebellion. It's a timeless tale of the human spirit's unquenchable thirst for freedom. He was a slave who rose up to become a brilliant general, who shook the foundations of an empire, and proved that even in the face of impossible odds, the fight for dignity is never in vain. What do you think is the most inspiring part of Spartacus's story? Let me know down in the comments. Ever heard of a man who started as a slave and ended up making the mighty Roman Empire tremble? This is the story of Spartacus, a name that echoes through history as a symbol of freedom and rebellion. Picture this: ancient Rome, a civilization built on power and conquest. In the heart of this empire, a Thracian soldier, possibly named Spartacus, is captured and sold into slavery. His fate seems sealed: to fight and die for the entertainment of the masses in the brutal gladiator arenas. He's sent to a gladiator school in Capua, where every day is a fight for survival. The clang of steel, the roar of the crowd, the ever-present shadow of death — this was his world. But Spartacus was no ordinary gladiator. He possessed an unbreakable spirit and a brilliant military mind. He saw his fellow gladiators not as rivals, but as brothers in chains. In 73 BC, he decided enough was enough. Along with about 70 other gladiators, armed with nothing more than kitchen utensils, Spartacus orchestrated a daring escape. This small act of defiance would soon ignite one of the largest slave rebellions in history. Word of their freedom spread like wildfire. Thousands of escaped slaves, men, women, and children, flocked to join Spartacus's growing army. They were a diverse group, united by a common dream to break free from the shackles of Rome. Against all odds, this rebel army, led by Spartacus and his trusted commanders, achieved stunning victories against trained Roman legions. They outsmarted seasoned generals and plundered Roman estates, turning the tables on their former masters. For 2 years, they roamed the Italian peninsula, a constant thorn in Rome's side. The Senate, initially dismissing them as a minor nuisance, grew terrified. They dispatched their best general, Marcus Licinius Crassus, with a massive army to crush the rebellion once and for all. The final battle was inevitable. In 71 BC, Spartacus's army, weary but defiant, faced Crassus's legions. Though they fought with incredible courage, they were ultimately overwhelmed. Spartacus himself is said to have fought to the very end, dying on the battlefield like the warrior he was. The rebellion was crushed, but the legend of Spartacus was just beginning. His story became a powerful reminder that even in the face of overwhelming power, the human spirit's desire for freedom can never be truly extinguished. Thanks for watching. If you were inspired by this story of courage, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales from history.